Welcome to the Financial Freedom Podcast with your host, Lorna Poole, sharing the secrets to creating wealth, investing, and that all-important money mindset. To find out more and accelerate your journey to financial freedom, head on over to www.lornapoole.com to get started. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Financial Freedom Podcast. What are the benefits of leaving your country, such as the USA, to find financial freedom and better life opportunities in general? With me today is Vincenzo Villamena. He is an American CPA and the managing partner of an online Taxman, which offers complete security and online tax preparation service, including online document exchange, upload systems, and utilization of modern communication technologies. Vincenzo lives as an expat in Medellin, Colombia, and has extensive experience in both tax preparation and advise clients in accounts and financial transactions. Vincenzo has served as partners in Four Corners Inc., focusing on individuals and business for accounts and tax preparation matters, as well as advising high net worth individuals in private equity investing. He is both a Master's of Accounts, Bachelor's of Business Administration with distinction from the University of Michigan, Stephen Ross School of Business. He is from New York City and has left the States to live a better life in Medellin, where he's been running his business. He sees many benefits leaving the States for more entrepreneurial and better life opportunities. Great to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
So Vincenzo, why leave your country? Why is that a big part of creating financial freedom, or can really help you get there?
Yeah, I mean, I think, the thing is, obviously people are sort of stuck in their sort of daily, you could call it a rat race or grind or routine, but what people don't realize, other than obviously the world is so big and, exploring and adventurous, is that, outside of the sort of first world, be it, the US or Europe, you can actually save a lot of money by living outside of your country, right? I mean, the sheer, price savings, cost savings of living in a second or third world country and in a place like South America and Colombia or a place, like Thailand or anywhere in Asia, for example, is really, really significant. I mean, we're talking, when I lived in New York, paying over $2,000 a month in rent to now paying, $500 a month in rent. And, candidly, I have a nicer place and a bigger place in Colombia than I ever did in New York. So, it's about like looking at the sort of quality of life and, really having like first world amenities at third world prices. And that's what I think a lot of people, forget about, when they're just living their sort of daily life, in their respective home country.
I love the way you said that there. Experience first world amenities at third world prices. Yeah. Yeah.
No, exactly. I mean, I've lived a bunch of places. I mean, I've lived in Buenos Aires, Argentina. I've lived in Brazil, Colombia, other parts of Europe, et cetera. And like I said, I mean, you get such a good value for your money living in these other countries. I mean, and you might even not even, people learn less money, getting remote work and remote jobs, but your sort of net bottom line at the end of the day is a lot higher if you're able to sort of work remote or have your own company, so to speak, and live in these countries.
Yeah, so if you're an entrepreneur, right, and your business, there's no cap on your income, right? So you can be living in these countries and earning big money.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, and you could be a starting entrepreneur, you could be a freelancer and picking up work or looking for clients, et cetera. And this is the sort of way to do it, right? I mean, to kind of have your cost of living super low, so you can really put your money towards building your business, building your client base, et cetera, and not, living paycheck to paycheck and, investing in yourself and your business as opposed to just spending it on, sort of, regular just living expenses, right? Like rent and food, et cetera.
And you shared something really great with me that I'd love to share here. And that is how important this is to your financial freedom, getting that money, working hard for you, that living in another country, why is that beneficial?
Yeah, I mean, because again, everyone, and obviously I know on your podcast, people talking about investments and, listen, I mean, they're first off, they're great investments too sometimes. And, in these countries, although of course you need to really be careful and really kind of know what you're doing because there's also opportunities to lose your money. But the point is that everyone's talking about playing offense and getting the best big deal, but it's also about playing defense, right? Which is saving on your cost of living and saving on taxes. And people that come from high tax countries like Europe and the United States, for the example, being able to live in low tax and no tax jurisdictions, or kind of play that sort of game where you're maybe giving up your residency in your home country and not having to pay tax in your home country, and maybe not being a tax resident of other countries. Like I said, I mean, that goes a long way to financial freedom.
Yeah.
And
just to share your story, I have a friend from Ireland, and it's very expensive here. And she were in this group for financial freedom, and she was living in the Midlands of Ireland, and she's moved to the Isle of Man, and the tax breaks and all she gets, and the price of housing and everything. So we went to our big seminar in November, and she was saying, I am financially free. And
yeah,
like what you said, it's playing the defense with money and understanding the taxes and fees and all that can make a huge difference to your financial freedom journey.
100%, 100%. And, coming from New York, and I started out, in the big four accounting race, and I've even worked in finance for a few years. And, I mean, you have people, making several $100,000 and even more in finance, but, they also sort of have this sort of lifestyle and keeping up with the Joneses and all that in these big cities. And, and long story short, moving down to South America, like I said, I was able to reinvest in my business and I was able to save money. I mean, I never saved money in New York. And, now, it's been a few years, it's been around 8 years living abroad. And again, through taxes and just cost of living savings, I've been able to acquire some properties in Colombia that I rent out an Airbnb. I've been able to, make some other investments that have paid off. And, listen, like I said, you have to obviously always be aware of this sort of thing. But the point is that I would have never, even had the sort of savings to even consider, buying real estate or doing this sort of thing if, living in New York. Because honestly, in New York, I didn't save. I mean, for years I was in debt. And that's, I think, really what's kind of changed my outlook on life. And, there's obviously other benefits of, having to travel and, meeting more interesting people, because I happen to feel that I think people like expats that, have the sort of open-mindedness, if you will, to live abroad and embark on that journey, I think could just, have a worldlier perspective. And yeah, like I said, I mean, it is about taking the plunge and seeing what you could do. And, listen, worst case, you could always go back to living in your home country, in your home city, and doing what you were doing before, right? But part of, making that sort of plunge and achieving financial freedom is taking a bit of risk. And, being open to doing something that might be a little bit different, and people might even call a little crazy. But like I said, I mean, I'm standing here 8 years later, and I mean, not only do I have no regrets, I mean, it's really been a blessing to have these experiences and live how I'm living now.
Vincenzo, I agree with you. I traveled for years, and I feel people just don't do enough of it, because
Right.
The experience of meeting others and standing on your own 2 feet and
Mm-hmm.
richness of the world. There's so much more out there than your little bubble.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, totally.
really think it helps your mind be healthy, and ideas and opportunities that come from travel is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And I mean, you're Irish. There's Australians. There's some countries where it's almost ingrained. Hey, you want to travel, work abroad, et cetera. And then you got the opposite, which is, my country, the U.S.
I
And
lived there for a while, and a lot of
right there you go.
passports and never left the country.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? So you must. I mean, think about when I told all my friends and family, hey, I'm gonna go live. At that point, I went to Argentina. Hey, I'm gonna go live in Argentina. And people, I mean, some people didn't even know where it was. They couldn't find it on the map. I mean, other people were like, what are you thinking? You have such a good job. And I said, you know what? I mean, you just kind of have to do what you have to do sometimes. And like I said, I mean, I just kind of rode off into the sunset, really. But it was so worth it.
Yeah, I remember even when I said I'm going, oh no, what about this? What about that? It's not safe, blah, blah, blah. Forget all that. So tell me this, right? Somebody is listening to this, they're a wannabe entrepreneur. They're fearful that their business might not take off or whatever, but they want to go travel. What advice would you give to them?
Well, like I said, I mean, I think it's all about, budgeting and understanding, what your cost of living might be, and obviously being smart about it, being conservative. But, for example, I mean, you can, and there's websites like this, there's something called Expatistan, and places where you could actually, compare the cost of living to, between your current city and another city, or between two cities you're looking at, whatever. And, so first, do the research, try and figure out what your budget is as far as if you have savings, or if you have some sort of limited income, like being an entrepreneur or freelancer, and be smart about it. But, I mean, there's enough sort of information out there between these websites and between Facebook groups and digital nomad groups that people, do a little research and kind of understand it. But like I said, you could always take the leap of faith, and you could always return if needed. And, the other side of it, and obviously I'm a tax guy, so I'll speak to it. But, if you give up residency in your home country, you might not have to pay tax there. So people who give up their boat in the UK or Canada, don't have to pay tax there. In the US, it's a little different. If you give up your residency in the United States, then you're tax-free on your income tax up to the first $100,000 of income, and you give up state tax. So I know a little bit more about the U.S., of course, the U.S. CPA. But the point is that there's a lot of money-saving factors if you really kind of think about it, budget it, do a little research on it, and of course, it could really work if you make it work.
Also, you're in a very smart business because everybody needs help with tax.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's
right. And plus understanding that, creating your financial freedom, understanding, the benefits of leaving the country and what, where the deductions are, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so with us, it's obviously, helping people understand the benefits of leaving the United States or their country of origin, potentially, if they are an entrepreneur or freelancer, setting up the right, structure, whether it's using a US LLC or a company in, BVI, Cayman, Hong Kong, what have you, and obviously doing it completely legally, but, understanding how to optimize your situation. And of course, right, finding the appropriate deductions that you're allowed to take, and really helping people, like I said, optimize the situation, that are either living abroad or in the U.S. or whatnot. But you're right. I mean, one of the best ROIs you could do is saving on tax, and it's something that's pretty much, an instant ROI, right? It's an instant savings. If you can figure out what is the proper tax structure, what can I do? But again, sometimes people try and focus too much on the money they can make and not as much on the money that they could save, or, might be kind of scared of numbers or scared of sort of being complicated. But, between talking to advisors and talking to, doing your own research a little bit, you could find the right solution. I mean, the solution's out there. It's how much time you want to spend and money, really, for that matter.
And what about, are you single? What
I have
what about a family, or, maybe for a single young guy, do you think it's easier for them than a family, or anyone can do it?
I mean, listen, I think anyone could do it. I mean, I have a lovely girlfriend, and I've taught her sort of how to be location independent. I have tons of digital nomad clients that take their family around, and there's something called world schooling, where people are kind of quasi homeschooling their kids and going to different meetups, and it's like one of those things. You want to teach your kids about the Holocaust? I mean, you could do it in a history book, or you could go out to Germany and go to the museums and the former concentration camps.
I actually was at Auschwitz 4 weeks ago.
Yeah. So I mean, you could do it. I mean, when there's a world, when there's a will, there's a way. And like I said, I mean, people are sort of accustomed to playing by these norms, but nowadays, especially like with digital nomading and all that, like that's almost becoming the norm, right? Is not being normal. So yeah, I mean, there's options for everyone out there, right? It's about seeking it out.
I absolutely love this. You've inspired me today to go, we're going to fix and go. Yeah.
It's time.
I think the biggest takeaway for me from this is where you said thinking about how you're saving the money, and that first world amenities in third world prices. Living like that and having your business fuel where you go or what you want to do. Because why does anybody want to create financial freedom? It's not really about the money. It's about, we want to live their lives our way. And a lot of people get stuck living a lifestyle they don't really want to live, waiting for this freedom day, rather than living that freedom every day they wake up from this day forward.
100%. And like I said, I mean, it's super achievable. It's not, it requires a little bit of preparation and effort and figuring it out. But, being able to sort of live that lifestyle, it's we're all blessed to kind of be from the country we're from. It's just about, like I said, seeking it out.
So tell me this, Vincenzo, we've had an amazing conversation. For somebody who's listening to this, they're inspired by our conversation. What's that one golden nugget you would like to leave them with?
I think it's a matter of figuring out what situation works for you, both from a budget and from a lifestyle perspective, whether it's learning a new language or being comfortable sort of, coming outside your shell and getting outside of your comfort zone. But I think everyone should live abroad once, to really kind of experience what the world is. And like I said, be it, saving money on cost of living or your tax situation, it's not as much money as you think it is, to travel and get out there. Right. I mean, it really isn't, and I think people kind of put almost a mental block on, oh my God, it's expensive. But no, I mean, traveling really isn't expensive. I mean, you could be smart and travel on a budget. Again, depending on where you go and what you want to do. So, don't sort of discount it if you, all you have to do is kind of put the work into it.
Love it. Vincenzo, how do we find out more about you?
So, if anyone has any questions, I mean, I do U.S. taxes for expats, digital nomads, and even foreigners and invest in the U.S., but we also help other people, not Americans. So if anyone has any questions, you could find me at onlinetaxman.com. There's a free consultation. Feel free to sign up at onlinetaxman.com, and happy to to be a resource for all your listeners.
Thank you. This has been amazing, and I really enjoyed it myself. So just
You're welcome.
Tell everybody again is if you enjoyed it, do head over to Financial Freedom Podcast Facebook group. You'll find us there, www.facebook.com/groups, the Financial Freedom Podcast. And thank you for being here. This has been really great.
No, thank you for having me. It's been awesome to talk about it.
Thank you for joining us on the Financial Freedom Podcast, to creating wealth, investing, and developing your money mindset. To get started today on your journey, head on over to www.lornapoole.com and grab your free course, 5 Steps to Breaking Free from Your Poverty Mindset and Accelerating Your Journey to Financial Freedom. See you there.